UFC Fight Nights are finally becoming better. Ever since John Jones has been announced as the main event of UFC 309, Dana White has been getting a colonoscopy from all the fans on how much hate that shit is getting. And I think that Dana White wanted to give us a little something to work with going into this dark ages of pay-per-views with number 7 ranked contenders. So, we've been seeing a lot of great pay-per-views announced. I mean, not pay-per-views, fight nights announced. Recently, we've seen Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira and Brandon Moreno versus Albazi get announced. And a lot, if we check the schedule and the events that are upcoming for the UFC, it's very easy to see that the UFC are just looking for any sort of compliment. And I will give it to them. They are finally doing a good job with these fight nights as they're finally showing off prospects and then having a fun fight at the end of the day, which is what the point of fight nights were at the first place. So let's just hop right into the upcoming fight nights. Or let's fucking not, I guess. Oh, there we go. So the Paris card is something I want to highlight. This is gonna happen in 2 weeks. This video is coming out right after the Sean O'Malley versus Marab card, which fuck that bullshit. Like the Sphere was supposed to be this amazing card, and we got that. We watched our favorite champion just like completely shit himself and lose all of our money, but it's all good, man. But if we look at the Paris card, I think this is a really great card, top to bottom. The prospects on it, the fights might not be individually barn burners, but we're definitely going to see a lot of finishes. We have guys like Ludovic Klein, he's fighting an absolute bum in Roosevelt Roberts. We have Morgan Charrier, who everyone says won their last fight against what was his name? Um Fuck. I forgot his name. But it was this wrestler from Colorado who fought Morgan Charrier, and it was a very close fight. And he's fighting an absolute layup in AJ Cunningham. Very easy first round finish. Then we have guys like Brian Battle versus Kevin Jousset fighting. This is a fight I'm very looking forward to because Brian Battle is one of my favorite prospects, and Kevin Jousset is an Israel Adesanya fighter. He fights at the same gym, and I think Brian Battle is going to destroy him, but I know a lot of people are picking Kevin. And then when we look at the top of the card, it's very easy to see that Amava versus Allen as a co-main event is absolutely insane. That would be a fight night any other card, but Paris is getting stacked. And the thing I see a lot with fight nights nowadays, which I like, is that whenever they go into actual arenas, they actually are stacking out the cards with decent fights that most people would want to see, which is very good. They don't keep the really interesting fights in the Apex, which they usually used to do. So these are the guys I want to highlight. Ion Kutalaba, he's on this card. He always has fun fights. He's fighting this nobody, so that's fun. William Gomez is fighting Joe Anderson Brito. That's an amazing fight. I don't know why I didn't put that up here, but Joe Anderson Brito is a top prospect. He beat Diego Lopez back in the day, and I think it will be a very easy victory for him as, what's his name? William Gomez is kind of an NPC on the feet, but yeah, this is the Paris card. Let's move on to the. I I have zero clue where this fight night is, but it is in a stadium. It is with a bunch of people. It might be in Dallas, one of those middle American countries. But when we look at the fights, they did a bunch of reshuffling of heavyweight fights to get a great card and just put on the best possible fights for the fans, which is amazing. When we look at this card, the heavyweights are definitely on display. We have Derek Lewis versus Joanta Diniz. What the UFC did is that Derek Lewis was going to fight Romanov, or it was Rodrigo Nascimento, but they switched him out to fight a striker who's coming up undefeated. And I do think Derek Lewis is going to get an easy KO against this unranked guy who really hasn't shown us anything impressive. They have Moreno versus Albazi as the main event. I know that fight is going to be kind of overhyped. Amir Albazi is kind of boring, and Moreno is kind of questionable nowadays. But getting Nama Yunus and Blanchfield as a co-main event instead of the main event, everyone was thinking that this was going to be a main event, and it wasn't. So thank God that they're just trying to give us some semblance of like happiness. They're actually listening to us for once. And when we look at the other fights, we have Marc-Andre Barriot, Dustin Solskis. They both go to war every time, and Barriot is not fighting a power puncher anymore, so he's able to stay in the pocket, which is going to be way better for him. Romanov versus Nascimento. It might not be the most fun fight because Romanov's a fat fuck, but I think this fight, it's a heavyweight fight, and for a fight night, I've seen so much worse. Just going back in time, just thinking about the fights I've been watching the Tatsuro Taira versus Alex Perez fight night kind of broke me a little bit. There was not a single interesting fight. I like being serious. There's been a lot of hate over recent fight nights recently. People saying, "Oh, this fight night's the worst." Go back and look at that fight night, and you'll see that Alex Perez, there was not a single good finish. It was just boring fight after boring fight. No one won their parlays, and I'm just grateful that we're gonna have better fight nights in the future. And if you can see in the title, Michelle Pereira versus Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is another fight that's coming up. Royval versus Tyra. They're both Apex fights, but when looking at the card, they're solid Apex fights. They're the solid, normal guys you would usually see, but it's a little more interesting because they have a bunch of those guys instead of just having the entire prelims be nobodies and then filling out the main card with some people you might know. So I think the fight nights are finally going to be good for the hardcore fans, and yeah. Thank you for watching. Sorry for not uploading for a while. I've just been kind of on some shit, you know? I've been just like I've been doing some silly dances. I've been popping perks, and yeah, that's my excuse for being away. But yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like the video, and yeah, see ya.